Hey guys, I'm gonna try and keep it brief and be loud. Sorry about yesterday's video, that was pretty boring, huh? Today we're gonna be doing the other side. I'm gonna be doing the driver's side rear, just the brake pads. I've decided on the back wheels I'm just doing the brake pads. But we're gonna do this as a speed run. So I've got everything I think I need here. And I'm gonna set the phone up and try and record. Start.
Alright, so this is going to be more of a breakdown style overview. This attempt did end up being a DNF because I forgot to put that cap back on over the lug nuts, which is tragic, but it's okay because I'm just practicing runs right now, and we're going to have some more runs up next week, or in the coming weeks of the Honda Accord. But I think this attempt went pretty well overall. I was a little too fast in some spots, which ended up losing me time, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But for now, step one is get these lug nuts off, get the car jacked up, and get the tire out of there. So here I'm using the bar from the car jack to extend the wrench, and it really makes removing the lug nuts almost effortless. But as you're going to see, I get a little too excited about how good the run is going, and I go a bit too fast. And it's on this final lug nut we have some excitement. So here, disaster strikes, but it's okay. I don't panic too much. I take some time to show it off and assess the situation. And it also let me know that I should probably slow down a little bit because I'm about to jack the car up. I don't need to be jerking things around. But in total, I don't think I lost a ridiculous amount of time. I didn't need to go get a new bolt or anything. It was just the extension that broke. Once I regain composure, I realize I have to get a thinner screwdriver to remove the extension, so I go and do that. But I figure I can probably get it done without the extension, so I press on. So I try again a lot slower and smoother, and it ends up loosening no problem. So now I gotta jack the car up to actually remove the wheel. It's right about as we're at the 5 minute mark, and this definitely gives me some confidence that next time the sub 5 minute wheel removal is definitely achievable, and we're gonna be going for that.
Soft ground.
So here you can't really see behind my knee, but I'm doing some double removal of the lug nuts. So I'm loosening 2 of them at once, and we get the tire off at around 6:30. So maybe sub 5 is a little lofty, but we can definitely feel good about working towards it, and I'm expecting a sub 6 minute at least next time. Alright, next step is removing the brake caliper. We just have a couple bolts holding that on. Those come pretty easy, they aren't on too tight. So at this point, I'm going to take a second to thank y'all for watching and sticking with the channel so strongly. The army is growing better and faster than ever, and it really warrants an update video soon, so expect that. But exciting things are happening with the channel and my internet status as a whole. I'm about to be way more powerful and way more in everyone's lives, so I'm excited for that. Thank y'all for the opportunity. So we finally get the caliper off, and sub 9 minutes is pretty nice, but I have another moderate time loss here because I forget to have a box ready for the caliper, because you don't want to put stress on the brake line or the car will explode. So I have to leave it on there and run and grab a box to set it on. So I lose a good bit of time there, but that's improvable. Now that we have the brake caliper off, and I'm not sure if all rear brakes are like this, but this one specifically has some weird clamps and mechanisms that hold the brake pads onto the piston and the caliper. So it's a little game of bend and pry that you have to play. But I already had some practice with it on the other side, so I get the old brake pads off in a much better time than I previously have. I ended up just bending the metal a lot on the old brake pads because I'm not going to reuse them. But even getting the new brake pads on is kind of difficult with this, with the clamps they have. So I get that front brake pad with the clamps off, and that's the hardest one to do. And after I get the back pad off, I almost make a mistake here and try to put the new ones on before I push the caliper piston back down. And that would have been a huge time waste. So I'm glad that didn't happen. Kind of wish it did so I could cut that time out next time, but yeah. And another near mistake is I almost forgot to crack the brake fluid open before I started pushing the piston down, so I really quickly have to run and do that. And once I get that done, it's just a straight shot of rotating, lowering that piston, and there's only one piston, which is quite nice. Once we finish this, everything will be disassembled, and we'll be at about the halfway point in terms of steps, so we'll just have to put everything back together. Sometimes I'll use a wrench to help me out on this step, but this piston was really easy. I was able to press it down pretty nice and smoothly, and quite often you'll have two calipers and you got to push them down evenly, so you'll crank a little bit and then loosen it, switch to the other caliper, and then crank that one down. And having one piston makes it go a lot faster. So now I'm trying to get the difficult one on, and it's got those 2 clamps you can see on the back, and 2 little circles underneath those clamps on the back of the brake pad itself. And those fit into little holes on the caliper, and it's really stiff metal, so it's tough. I'll have to see what I'm dealing with on the Accord, but I'm not expecting this style, at least on the front brake pads, so we should save some time there in the future. Mallet comes in and saves the day, so we can continue on. Now we just have to get the caliper back on the rotor and the wheel back on the bolts, tighten everything down, lower the car, so the end is in sight. It takes me a second to get the caliper bolts lined up with the threads, but once I get it going, it goes pretty fast. So I get the caliper on and I start getting a little disorganized with my steps, and that I start cleaning before I'm done, which is normally a nice way to work, but for the speed run, I decided I'm going to say it's clean or you're done when the car has a path to back up and leave, and there's nothing underneath the car. If I had to put every tool where it belongs, that would add an absurd amount of time, and it wouldn't be even among every competitor. So here I'm moving the tire, obviously, and I don't struggle with it too much, but it was not the smoothest installation. But I'm looking at the time, and I'm really thinking a sub 20-minute run is possible. So I finally get it on, and we are in the final stretch. I just have to tighten the lug nuts and drop the car back down, as well as remember to close the brake fluid lid. But I start doing some more double tightening technique to save some time. It goes really good. I'm proud of that one. That skill's only going to get better. So obviously when you're working on a car, you want to prioritize safety. As you can hear, I'm using jack stands, which were a bit of a time waste. And even though I wasn't underneath the car, it's not that much of an issue, and you should probably always take the easy steps to protect yourself from being squished. So yeah, the run ended up coming in at about 23 minutes. Pretty good. A lot of time can be saved. I'm gonna shoot for under 20 on the next one. But the whole project, from getting all the tools out to driving the car around the neighborhood and bringing it back, that took just an hour, so that was nice. Hopefully this can help y'all in your speed runs, or you just enjoyed the nonsense of it all. But yeah, we're gonna be shooting for sub 20 next time, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching this video 3 times, and we'll see you next time at Gamera God.